Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Brain Vomit Podcast with your host, Camille Moody. Today, we're going to be talking about self love, why I think it's important, why I believe you need to love yourself, and just my personal experiences and actually how to love yourself. I feel like everyone's like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. You need to love yourself. You need to love yourself. But, like, how do you actually do it? So, that's what we're going to be getting into today. I'm really excited. This is a topic I've been kind of like bugging on the last few episodes because I do think it's important, and I feel like I can give a really fresh perspective on this because I did just gain this self-love and respect for myself just recently. I just feel like I have a really fresh perspective on what it's like to not love yourself and to not respect yourself, and because it was just so recent. And I'm really excited to have this discussion with you guys today. If you're watching, thank you for watching the video. Thanks for clicking on and wanting to hear me talk. This one might be a little longer episode today. We'll see. I know my episodes range. They're like usually 20-ish minutes. But I don't know. We could be talking for a while today. But if you stick around, hey, thanks for staying listening to me talk about this. I'm really excited to get into this topic. If you're new here, welcome to the Brain Vomit Podcast, if I didn't already say. This is just a place where I spill my thoughts and ideas, and we love it here. We love it here. Thank you to everybody in the comments. I feel so much better, by the way. I was so sick last week. It was kind of gross, but I feel a lot better. I've been keeping up with my allergy medicine as I should have been like the past couple of months, but guess what? I didn't. I didn't because I never think about my allergies until they're here. And then I realized, maybe I should have taken my allergy medicine like in advance, but I never do. I've been doing this now for like 15 years. Okay, like it's ridiculous. I need to keep up with my medicine, but I just don't think about it until it happens. You know what I mean? Which is so annoying, but whatever. So, what is self-love? A definition from psychcentral.com is self-love means that you accept yourself fully, treat yourself with kindness and respect, and nurture your growth and well-being. That is a perfect definition. It captures all aspects of loving yourself because just all of those are so important. You know, it would be different if it was just like, oh, you treat yourself with kindness. Okay. What else? You know, I don't know. I feel like that's just a good definition that hits all of the points of what it means to love yourself. I have always struggled with loving myself. And for me, my own personal... Nope, the gnat trap is going right back up. I'm not doing this. Give me a second. My own personal self-definition really does align with this one that I found from Psych Central, but my definition is heavy on the respect for myself because I did not have that for a very, very, very long time. And I didn't see it. I did not see that I had such little respect for myself until I gained the respect for myself, which is insane because you really don't know it. Like, I just did not know what I was missing until I got it. You know what I mean? So that is what my definition is, just really, really heavy on the respect because I just did not have that for so long. But I think that this is a great almost like to-do list, like this definition. It's accept yourself, treat yourself with kindness, treat yourself with respect, nurture your growth and well-being. Like that is basically a little checklist. Great. But yeah, to get into my own personal journey with loving myself, it has been a real long and hard one. And like I said at the beginning, y'all, like I did not start loving myself and treating myself with respect and kindness until very, very recently. I am very hard on myself. I struggle with depression and anxiety. I realized I was depressed in 2018 and I just could not figure out why for the longest time. I was psyching myself out with, okay, well, you're so blessed, Camille. Like you have a loving family, you have friends. Like I have all of these blessings. I'm able to go to school. I, have a job. I make money on my own. Like all these blessings, and I'm still upset somehow. And I was beating myself up so hard about that for the longest time. And then in 2020, I hit a really, really low point, and I know COVID had a huge part in that, just with, like being inside all the time. I kind of lost a couple of friendships that weren't super strong throughout high school in that time, and it was just not it. Yeah, so I think we can all agree that COVID was just not it for us, or at least most of us can agree, because that was just a time of forced isolation, and I don't think anybody really likes that. Hi, this is Editing Camille. Also, not only that, one thing I forgot to mention was the stress of dealing with a pandemic where people were dying and we were constantly hearing about it on the news. Like, that can strike up some really, really anxious and depressing feelings. So yeah, it's no surprise that COVID was a very difficult time for a lot of us, especially in regards to our mental health. But yeah, that's all from Editing Camille. Okay, I just want to throw that in there because it's a very important aspect to what COVID was. Yeah, being like 18 and hearing that everyone's going to catch this disease and people are dying from it is very scary. So yeah, okay, bye from me. So yeah, that was just like where I really hit my lowest point in my mental health. I feel like my lowest point like stayed at the absolute zero from like 2020 to probably 2022, beginning of 2022, a really long time to be severely, severely, severely depressed. I mean, I was contemplating suicide. I it I did not believe that my life was worth living. I did not think that I was worthy enough to be here. I struggled with believing that my friends liked me. I was struggling to believe that anybody loved me. And all of those things are not true. I did have friends and family that loved me to death. I am worthy of living the life that I'm blessed with on this earth. And I did not believe any of those things because I did not love myself. And I did not treat myself with kindness, respect. I did not believe that I deserved to be here. And that is a really, really sad place to be. So, with that being said, if any of you guys have felt that way or are feeling that way, please don't be afraid to reach out. And if you do have unsupportive, people in your life, or like your parents, for example, if your parents are unsupportive, go find someone that will listen to you, because mental health is no joke. Like, it's just as important as physical health. And in the same way that you go to the doctor and get your checkups, that needs to be the same for your mental health. It should not be flying under the radar at all. I feel like it's just so overlooked, and it's definitely getting better as time goes on. I feel like our generation, I say I don't know who's watching this video. I feel like my generation is specifically really, really good with checking up on people and putting mental health as a priority, which is a amazing step in the right direction. So, I'd say I honestly did not gain this sort of respect for myself until like late of last year, so like later 2022, and it was extremely eye-opening. I mean, I was able to stand up for myself when someone hurt my feelings. That was nothing I couldn't do. I was such a people pleaser, y'all. Like, I was such a people pleaser. So anytime that like someone would hurt my feelings or upset me, I would not say anything, and I would just kind of shove it in and like keep it to myself, which is not good every single time. I did not think that I had it in me to confront people when they have upset me, which is now crazy to think about because I can confront people today. Like, now I can confront people. Now I can let people know when, hey, that was not cool. What you said, it kind of hurt my feelings, and I'm now confident in my ability to do that. But if I said that a year ago, or like if Camille 1 year ago heard me say that I'm comfortable with bringing up things that hurt my feelings, I would be in shock. She'd be like, oh, what? You can do that? How? Why? So yeah, I didn't not have any of this until very, very recently, and it has honestly put me in such a shock. It happen very quickly, but at the same time, I know it's been a long road coming. I have been putting in the work for myself. I have been taking the steps necessary to better myself as a person, to understand myself better, to accept myself better. And that all of that work is being put into these results, and the results being that I respect myself. I believe that I, am worthy of living. I believe that I'm worthy of good friendships and relationships. I believe that I am worthy of love. I believe that I am worthy of respect, if I didn't already say. It has been incredible to see in myself, and I'm just so proud of myself because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, everybody would stop hating themselves. But guess what? It's not easy. So I am proud of myself for putting in the work. I am proud of any of you guys that are, taking the steps necessary to better yourselves as people, not even just regarding self-love, but just bettering yourself because it's not easy. If it was easy, all of us would be perfect people, but we're not. So I thought of two quotes that they just came to mind when I was thinking about self-love and what it means to love yourself. One of them is true and one of them is like debatable. The first one is that comparison is the thief of joy. And I'm going to tell you, I can tell you firsthand that this is like a fact. Comparison very much is the thief of joy because once you start comparing yourself to people, whether that be people you know or don't know, it becomes a competition. And unnecessary competitions are draining and have no purpose, in my opinion. Because what does comparing your body to your friends do for you? Is it uplifting you? Is it making you feel better about yourself? Is it pushing you in a positive direction? The answer is probably not. What is the purpose of comparing yourself to someone on TikTok that has more things than you? Does that make you feel good about yourself? Does that encourage you? Does that uplift you? The answer is probably no. So comparison alone will kill somebody. Truly. It is so difficult to not do. I still do it sometimes to this day because it's human. It's natural almost to look at, compare to humans and see the differences. And I feel like now comparison is done a lot through social media. It is, it's not impossible, but I'll say personally, I compare myself more to people that I see online than I do in person. And social media is a nightmare, but we'll get into that a little later. Okay, give me about 5 minutes. So, the next quote that I thought of was, "You can't love someone until you love yourself." And I'll tell you right now, wrong. Because those are, it's definitely possible to love somebody and not love yourself at all. That's so true. I've seen it before. Okay? I've seen it happen. I have never been in love before, but there have been times where I have been deeply invested in somebody. Meanwhile, I could not give two craps about myself. You know what I mean? Similar concept. It wasn't love, but I'm just saying I've seen it before. It's not impossible to love somebody and not love yourself. Does that make sense? Like it's very real. It can happen. I feel like the slight truth in this quote is like the underlying message of maybe your insecurities while being in a relationship with someone that you love can blind you from certain aspects that are really, really important to your partner. That is something that would make sense to me. And that is something that I think is true. If you are letting your insecurities blind you from something like trust and security and I guess being completely vulnerable in the relationship, then that can create barriers and walls getting built up in the relationship. And I don't think that's what somebody would want. Again, I have never been in a relationship. So maybe this is true. Maybe it's not. I don't know. People who have dated, let me know. People who have been in relationships, let me know. Because I've dated before. I've been on dates, but I've never been anybody's girlfriend. And honestly, praise God. But we'll get into that another day. So, those are, bringing up those two quotes, I don't feel like didn't really have much purpose except for the fact that those are just the two quotes that I think of right off the bat when I think of self-love. I said think a lot in that sentence, whatever. But there's truth in both of those a little bit. The first one, definitely. The second one is kind of like, So that was just for funsies. I just brought this up for fun. Okay. So the next part, social media's impact on our love for ourselves. Oh my gosh, it is so bad. Social media is awful, y'all. Like, as much as I love Instagram, okay, I love Instagram. I love Pinterest. I love YouTube. Actually, I don't even count Pinterest really, because Pinterest is always good vibes, okay? I cannot give you one bad experience I have on Pinterest. Never. Pinterest is it. So if you need a good cleansing app, you need to get on Pinterest and just explore your ideas, because that's all Pinterest is. It's like you're exploring your ideas, you're exploring your interests. Like, I think that's pretty good. So I love Pinterest. So we're going to leave her out of that. I'm sorry for even bringing her up. She was like, don't even associate me with that. I'm sorry, Pinterest. I love you. But things like specifically TikTok and Instagram, those are a comparison central. Like, if you want to get on there and feel bad about, like, if you want to feel bad about yourself, go get on TikTok for like 3 hours. Get on the wrong side of TikTok for 3 hours, and then you're going to start feeling bad about yourself. Like, it is a nightmare. While I still do have the apps, I will say I did have to take a break from them because it was starting to get at me. It was starting to kill me. And once I had that break, that 1 month where I did not have TikTok, y'all, that was like life-changing. I wasn't on my phone as much. My screen time was down. I was reading books, which I read books, right? Like, I read my Bible, right? I do that. But I mean, like, reading other books, like, for fun. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was doing that. I haven't done that in years. And that break was just really, really healthy. And it kind of allowed me to forget about what is going on in the world, in the sense of, like, what's popular, what's not popular, what do I have to keep up with, what trends are going on right now, la, 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 la. That stuff doesn't matter. And I realized that during my break. And it was great. And honestly, talking about it now, I kind of want to do a break again, or maybe just delete it for forever, because I was thriving without TikTok. I mean, I'm fine now. Like, the break definitely impacted me in all the right ways. And now I don't get on the app and, feel bad about myself anymore, which is good. But if you are, insecure and you struggle with these insecurities, I really recommend taking a break. But yeah, social media is a nightmare, and it's a place where we glorify self-deprecation, which is not good. I struggled with that for a long time as well. I would make these comments about myself in front of my friends, not necessarily for them to, like, disagree, but I mean I'd say at the beginning it was kind of like, oh, like, I don't look good today, and they'd be like, no, you do, and I'd be like, oh, okay. That was like when I was a little younger. But self-deprecating comments, like, I was making them to the point where I didn't even care if they, like, agreed or not. I was just saying them because I just did not like myself that much, and I truly believe those things. Words have crazy power, y'all. Words have like crazy power. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, what you're speaking over yourself can become reality so quick. Was that English? Did that make sense? What you are speaking over yourselves can become your reality. Yeah, there we go. If you're constantly saying, oh, I'm, such a bad person, I hate myself, I'm ugly, I don't have a good heart, I don't deserve to be here, those are things that you're going to start believing. Yeah. So constantly making deprecating comments to yourself is like setting yourself up, truly. And whether you guys realize that or not, it will turn into your reality so quick. Even if it starts as, like, joking, like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. That's another one. I've been trying to stop saying that, because after I got out of being suicidal, I was like, why was I saying that? Like, that's not funny. That's not funny. Like, I need to stop saying that. So once stop getting out of those sayings, like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, that was so embarrassing, I hate myself, oh my gosh, I look so bad in this outfit, oh my gosh, it will become your reality. Like, those, like, seemingly innocent thoughts can spark into, oh my goodness, I wish I was dead. Oh my goodness, I hate myself. I don't like anything about myself. My friends hate me. My family hates me. Like those things will like turn into that so quick. Do you guys realize what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. But yeah, words are really, really powerful. And unfortunately on social media, self-deprecation and those really sad comparison TikToks is what gets popular. And like, it just depends on what side of TikTok you're on, right? Maybe the videos on your maybe the videos on your For You page that are popular are knitting videos. I don't know. I don't know you guys, okay? But I'm just saying, like, TikToks where they're discussing things like how much they feel like they're not going to be loved or in a relationship, and they can't believe that people love them, and that people think that like the TikToks where they're like, oh, I'm so unlovable. Oh, I feel like I will never be in a relationship. And discussing trauma. That's another one on TikTok. Like just the trauma dumping and all that stuff. And you know what? People have a right to post whatever they want on social media. I'm not here to be like, people trauma dump, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just saying, watch what you're feeding your mind. Those are the videos that get popular, and self-deprecation is what gets attention on social media. Let's be real. So those videos are more likely to come up on your feed. And if you're someone that takes in information a little too quickly and you have a hard time ignoring those messages that you see, that's where things can get really, really dangerous. And when I would see those videos on my For You page like a couple years ago, I would see one video and then spiral and have like anxiety attacks, panic attacks for the next like hour because I saw something that I related to and that I kind of took upon myself, and that's really scary. So if you're not in a place to be on social media, if you can't handle it, please get off. I'm begging, because it is so, so harmful. And luckily I do feel like I'm at a place where I can be back on it again with some restrictions, but like it can be a lot. And I don't think social media is beneficial in really any way, in my opinion. I mean, of course, you're here on YouTube listening to me talk. I don't know if this is necessarily like educational, but I'd say it's a pretty positive podcast in the sense that like, yeah, we're talking about all these like very real, very upsetting things, but it is good to be knowledgeable about what's going on. I see one gnat flying around. I'm about to be sick. I'm not about to play again, y'all. I have to put a gnat trap up in my apartment. I don't know what is going on because my apartment is clean. Okay, I'm not in the mood for this. I think it might be my neighbors. I don't know. Lord, please get these gnats out of my apartment. Please, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I just put the gnat trap back up because I'm not about to play with them. I need to spray the apartment down. Okay. I'm so paranoid about gnats, y'all. I hate gnats. I've already like cleaned my apartment, but I'm going to deep clean my apartment after this. I'm done filming this episode. Anyways, let's get back to it. I'm not dirty, y'all. I swear. It's just like, ooh, move. I'm not dirty. I swear. I think it just happens. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Let's get back to it. So, all of this talk about you need to love yourself. It's so important to love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all are wondering, okay, all this talk, I see it's important. How do I do it? So I'm going to give you some of the things that I used in my personal journey to better myself and to love myself. So let's get into it. We kind of discussed on this a couple minutes ago, but the fact that words are powerful. So if you have a lot of negative thoughts, you need to start counteracting those with positive thoughts about yourself. So what I have is in my bathroom cabinet, right? Like next to the mirror. Here's the mirror. Here's the cabinet. So when I go open it to like get my medicine or like a new towel or something like that, I have a little like a mini sticky note wall. It's like of maybe like 20 something sticky notes. And it's just some little like words of affirmation for myself, things that are true. And I think that's what's important for this specific like activity is whenever you write these positive things about yourself that you want to, instill in your brain, they need to be true things about yourself. So I have things that like, have things that say, I'm caring, I am strong. I also have some like not necessarily like positive. They're not positive or negative. They're just traits about me. So I have one that's like, I'm introverted, and that's okay. Because I think for a long time I hated myself for not being so social all the time. And it's okay. Like, I can't force myself to be somebody that I'm not. That's point blank. Like, you cannot force yourself to be somebody that you're not. So you need to write things that are true about yourself on these sticky notes. If you do follow this thing, that I had to write true things. I know that I am strong. I know that I'm smart. I know that I am very task driven. Knowing all of these things about yourself make you have a greater sense of appreciation for yourself. And of course, there are aspects of me that are not so positive, okay? Just like every other human on the planet, you got your strengths and you got your weaknesses. So while it's important to, yes, affirm those strengths, be aware of your weaknesses. I know I'm not patient. I'm not patient at all. But I do try and work on that. While I know I'm never going to be the most patient person in the world, I can work on it, and it's something I can improve on for sure. I now say a prayer like, God, just give me opportunities to show patience. Because for a long time I was like, God, make me patient, make me patient. And it finally hit me one day. He was like, Camille, I'm not going to make you patient. I'm going to give you opportunities to be patient because I know you can be. And that was eye-opening for me. So thank you, God, for that word. Affirm those positives about yourself. Learn about yourself. Take time to figure out the things that you like, that you don't like. Figure out your strengths and your weaknesses and use those to your advantage. Use those to better yourself. Use those to accept yourself as the person that you are. Next, therapy. Therapy was everything for me. Okay, I started therapy a year ago, and I am not the same person I was a year ago. So I highly recommend if, I was using it with insurance. Okay, let's be real, because it's expensive. I was using it with insurance. So I only had to pay out of pocket a very small fraction of what it would have been. Okay, it's expensive. But there are some, there are outlets there. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I know BetterHelp is an option. A lot of college campuses have free therapy and counseling. Some high schools have counselors, I believe. I hope all high schools have counselors. I don't know. I never went to the counselor in high school, so I don't know what that's like. So forgive me if I'm wrong. But there are resources out there. And I know online therapy has become really, really popular over the last few years, especially with COVID. A lot of stuff switched to online. So there are resources out there. I know BetterHelp for sure, because I did explore that before I started my own therapy. They do financial aid. So if you are, if you qualify, if you meet the qualifications, you can get like a % off your therapy. And I think whenever I filled mine out, I got like a really pretty good discount. So I would look into it if you guys are needing a cheaper option, a more affordable option, especially if you are younger like me in your 20s. I know money can be tight, okay? Money can be tight because most of us are in school, okay? Most of us are in school. Most of us are working. Most of us have bills to pay now. Like, money can be tight. But with resources like that, it can be a little easier. You just can, it is definitely hard to make room in the budget for something like therapy, but it is so worth it. Like, I'm almost ending my therapy actually, which is insane to even think about, but it's coming to an end, and it's exciting. It's nerve wracking, but yeah, it was definitely worth it. I did EMDR therapy. You guys should look it up if you want. I'm not going to talk about it today, but yeah, very much recommend. Another one is not realizing that you are alone in your insecurities, okay? I can promise you there is somebody else that you probably know that has the same, insecurity as you do. I did an exercise in Bible study yesterday, or a couple days ago. And the exercise was, we put down things that we personally struggle with, right? And then it was anonymous, so we mixed up the papers and we pulled the papers out. So we got some random girl in the rooms. We got some random girl's paper that was in the room, right? There was like maybe, I don't know how many. I'd say maybe like 40 of us, maybe 30, 40. And we stood up when the question was asked, like, do you struggle with this? And then we would stand up if the answer was yes, and we would sit down if the answer was no. And it was honestly an amazing exercise, and I commend the girls from that Bible study for coming up with that, because it was great. It really did remind me, oh my gosh, these bangs, I'm about to commit a crime. See, I'm not patient. I'm not like, see, and that's okay. I'm not. It's just so funny. I just don't like when my bangs look whack, okay? And that's okay. I'm allowed to be upset about my bangs a little bit. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was saying. The girls that came up with that exercise are amazing for that, because it really did make me realize I'm not alone in the things that I struggle with. I'm not alone in being insecure with my body. I'm not alone in depression. I'm not alone in anxiety. I'm not alone in any of those things, because nearly every girl in the room stood up for almost every single question. So what does that say? It just reminded me that, like, yes, we're different people, but a lot of us are living really similar lives in the sense that these are the things that we struggle with. You know what I mean? It was just really, really refreshing to see. Of course, I'm not thrilled that, me and 40 other girls are struggling with depression. Sad, right? But it was nice to feel like I wasn't alone in that. And that was the whole point of that little conversation. Anyways. So yeah, maybe this for you guys can look like sitting down with a really close friend or family member and discussing those things that you're insecure about, and ask them for advice, or ask them if they have any experience in that, and realizing that, maybe if they don't have the insecurity, there are plenty, hundreds, thousands of people that are insecure about the same things that you are. So just kind of putting that into perspective, and, realizing that even though people might not show it, that they are struggling with insecurity. Everybody has insecurity. So yeah, it's so easy to like put on a face and walk out for the day and not show any of those insecurities. But I can guarantee you most people have insecurities, maybe even really similar to yours. So don't ever feel alone in that. That exercise is really what did it for me, because for a long time I was like, why do I feel like I'm the only depressed person in the world? Even though I know that's not true. When I was very suicidal, I felt like I was the only suicidal person in the world. It was a nightmare. So just reminding myself that I'm not the only one was very, very beneficial for me. Another thing that I did to help me love myself was taking a break from social media. Like I discussed like 10 or so minutes ago, I took a break from TikTok, and that was the best month of my life, okay? I was thriving. I was not worrying about what everybody else was doing. It was great. So if you struggle with constantly like worrying about other people and worrying and comparing yourself, I suggest you take a break. It'll be really hard, okay? Like when I started my break, I deleted it for like 6 hours, and then I downloaded it again. I was like, I can't do it. And then that would kind of happen over the next week. Like, I'd delete it for a couple days and be like, maybe I can watch one video and then get back on it. It's really addicting. Social media is addicting. It was just one of those things where I had to sit myself down and ask if I was taking this seriously. And if I so strongly believe that this is going to benefit me and my mental health, and why not just buckle down and do it? And that was kind of the moment where, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take this break. I was off of it for a month, and it was the best ever. It was so refreshing. I was present. And that is another thing, is just being present. I only learned this like maybe a month ago. But being present and not so focus on the past, the future, is incredible. Like, yes, it's important to maybe, think about your future and, make sure your actions are maybe in line to your values and aspirations for what you want for yourself in the future, but not constantly worrying about it and forgetting that you're right here, right now. That was one thing I struggled with so bad. Even today, I feel like I still get caught up in that, like where I'm so stuck in the past or the future that I forget that I'm here in the present. And that is not what we want to do. So there are many different routes you guys can take to, finding all these things that are going to work for you to help you love yourself. But I guess as a concluding statement, while I did share the things that I did to help me love myself a little bit better and to accept myself, it's going to be different for everybody. So yes, I gave the examples. Those are things that you can maybe start with, but your self-love journey is going to look different than the next person's. So you just need to, again, take into account who you are as a person, what your strengths and weaknesses, and kind of go based on that. I, again, do really recommend counseling if that resource is available to you. If not, please reach out to friends or loved ones that can help you on this journey, because if they really do love you, they will have no problem doing this with you. But I guess that's my concluding statement. What does this mean moving forward? Remembering that you're not going to wake up tomorrow and be so incredibly in love with yourself. That's just not realistic. It is a process. It's going to take time. And the last sentence I wrote here was, if you want it, you got to work towards it. I knew going into therapy that I did not want to be depressed anymore. It was more like, for me, therapy was like, okay, I don't want to be suicidal anymore. But not only did I gain that, I also gained love and respect for myself, and showing myself kindness, showing myself grace. All those things that I would do for other people, I am now putting that back into myself, which feels phenomenal. And it was hard work. It was blood, sweat, tears, girl, all the above. Girl, boy, person, whoever's watching. I say girl all the time, so just don't be offended if I say girl. I'm like, girl. I say that all the time. So get used to it. Welcome to the podcast. But yeah, just remembering that this is going to take time. This is a process. And even though it took me a year, maybe it takes somebody a few months. Maybe it takes somebody a couple weeks. Maybe it takes somebody 3 years. But you guys, the important part about a journey of bettering your mental health and well-being is you have to love the process and not be so focused on the end result. You have to love yourself where you're at. You have to meet yourself where you're at and recognize your growth, even if it's baby steps. Like, taking baby steps is hard. So recognizing where you're at and, you can set for yourself, hey, this is what I want in the future. Great. But what are the steps you can take today to get to that point? That's the point that I'm getting at. So yeah, this was a very general conversation. I would like to get into social media a little bit more. I would love to get into, I would love to get into the discussion of social media a little bit more, maybe for another episode. If there's anything that I said in this conversation today that you guys want me to dive more into, let me know in the comments, I guess. But yeah, this is just a very general conversation about self-love and how I actually did it. And yeah, what it means for me now. I'm still so in shock with my progress and just how far I've come and everything. So don't give up. There are going to be times where you're like, screw this. I'm probably just better off with how I am before, just not giving myself the time of day. But I can tell you right now, once you hit the point where you're wanting to be at, you are never going to look back again. I cannot, I just don't want to look back again. It feels amazing to actually care about myself. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, just to wrap up, because I've been talking for almost an hour now, but I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me talk about this. I know it was very general. It was very broad. Maybe I feel like it was broad. Maybe y'all don't. I don't know. Let me know. But yeah, again, if any of this fits for you, you can accept it. If anything didn't, you can reject this message. It's up to you guys. But if you guys do choose to take steps moving forward to appreciate yourself a little more and to better yourself, I pray that goes well for you guys. And I pray that, y'all will soon recognize that y'all deserve that. And this is something that is necessary for growth and for just moving forward in life. I feel if you don't give yourself the chance to move forward, are you going to move forward? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it for this episode today. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, don't like it then. If you want to subscribe, that'd be cool. Join the Brain Vomit family. I post every Saturdays at 6. I call it 6y Saturdays. 60 Saturdays on the Brain Vomit podcast. We'll see you there. Tune back in for next week's episode. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Okay, bye.